Brighton, the sunny seaside city that's a bohemian and cosmopolitan cultured hangout, a location fashionable with students, holidaymakers and weary commuters to London alike. It also remains high on the list of sought-after destinations for runaways and homeless people around the land. You may have seen other shows that present sparse and cool modernist apartments and fabulous family homes with spacious open living plans. Those places aren't for us. We're starting out nearer to the bottom of the property ladder. We're looking to find a permanent place, just a roof over his head, for our home seeker who currently has no fixed abode. Prices have rocketed, of course, and the average price of rent on a flat in Brighton is just short of £1,300 per calendar month. This doesn't bode well for our home seeker Harry, who has savings of approximately zilch. Homelessness remains a significant problem in Brighton and Hove. High property prices and low average income have resulted in high levels of homelessness, and demand for affordable homes in the city far exceeds supply. It certainly looks tough for Harry, but we'll do what we can. In this programme, we'll look at what options are available to Harry. We'll take him to view some private accommodation and see whether less legitimate forms of housing can offer any help to Harry in this crisis he's facing.
I'm doing a course at university at the moment, and one of our fields of research is about hidden homeless. These people don't present themselves, they're sofa surfing and they're staying with friends or family until the favours run out.
Hi Harry, pleased to
Hi,
meet you.
good to see you.
I hear you're looking for somewhere to live.
Yes, I've just been running to meet you to show me some houses.
And I'm your fairy godmother. I think I can help you. So I've been looking at some one-bedroom flats. We saw some very nice ones, but they're a bit out of your budget. So we found you a shared house just down the road. Should we go have a look?
Great, yes, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. So here's the living room. So what do you think?
It looks nice, relaxed place.
There are 5 people living in this house.
Oh, I'm a people person.
You could do with a lick of paint.
Oh, very inspired artist. I like it. It's full of light, and I'm sure that not all the 5 people come at the same time here to eat or to cook.
But there's a cooker.
Oh, I like it. I just boil water on the cooker.
And there's even a washing machine. Well, this is the bathroom.
Great.
Well, it's functional. There's a shower.
Oh, let me see. Oh, but still I can wash and clean.
Yeah, well, what do you expect when you're unwaged?
I told you I'm just searching for a place where to live.
But it's a pretty tough situation. 5 people sharing this bathroom. Could do with a good scrub.
I don't think it's a problem.
So this would be your room. It's a bit nicer, isn't it?
It's quite small.
What would you expect?
I don't know. Place where to live, I told you.
You've even done some repairs there, look. So Harry, can you see yourself living here?
Yes, it's nice. It's all I need. It's nice that you find me somewhere where to live. When can I move in?
Well, we need to talk finances.
Really?
It's only £320 a month, which for this side of Brighton's pretty good. And you'll need a month's rent in advance and a month's deposit.
Oh, but it looks too much. I can't.
And you'll also need a reference from your previous landlords and possibly from an employer. And then you can move in.
So I cannot move in. I'll claim for housing benefit.
You'll still need £1,000 up front. And also there's a £200 one-off agency fee.
So I cannot move in.
When you have the money, going with your house search?
I researched everywhere I told you, but I found nowhere to live yet.
You have problems with finding a deposit?
Yes.
Okay, well, so then I've
You
been
know
looking at some rent-free options for you, and I've come across something called squatting. It's not a very nice name, but it basically means living in an abandoned building. And so I've brought you here today, because this used to be a former squats. There's about 10 people living here.
Really?
There was running water, but they didn't have electricity.
Can be a problem, but I don't know. I have to see that.
You would maybe have to share a room, but you know, you're sociable.
Yes, I think this is one of my qualities for the moment.
Yeah, so it could be a good option
If
for
it
you.
helps for me, I'll join other people. I want to do.
Yeah.
There's no chance otherwise.
It's a bit insecure. It's not a permanent solution, but it could give you something for now.
I started squatting after I finished university. I was renting a place at the time, but I didn't have a job, and I was doing a lot of sort of volunteering and other stuff, and I didn't want to end up being dependent on sort of housing benefit or sort of other people for like the way I was living. So I realised that I had to move out of the place I was renting and move in with some people I was squatting. I think squatting is a really good way of people sort of taking control over their living situations without having to sort of go cap in hand to banks or their employer or government or whoever. So lots of people have different reasons for squatting. I don't think you can say that a typical squatter is something, because people squat for all sorts of different reasons. There were some people in the squat that I lived in who had been rough sleepers. There was one guy who lived for 2 years in a homeless shelter in New Haven. There was another guy who I lived with that sort of came to England 4 years ago from Germany and started off sleeping on the Strand, selling the Big Issue, and sort of through squatting he's managed to now end up getting a job and get a place to rent. And he says that without squatting he wouldn't have been able to do that. So yeah, I think people squat for all sorts of different reasons. There are political squatters, there are non-political squatters, there are people who are doing it because they like the way that squatting is really sociable, people who like to sort of spend as little money as possible on their life, all sorts of different reasons. I think Mike Weatherly doesn't really know anything about squatting. It seems that this law he's pushed through is really badly researched. It seems to be based on what seems like quite a hysterical media stereotype. And when he first started talking about criminalising squatting, people invited him round to squats. It was before I started squatting, really. But people invited him round to squats several times and said, let's talk about this, let's try and correct a lot of these things that you're saying that just aren't true. But he never wanted to speak to anyone. He's said that homeless charities have his support when, in fact, when people have asked him which homeless charities, the only one he was able to name then denied that they did support him. I think the law has had an effect on some people. On people who are in the squatting community, it hasn't had much of an effect. People have moved simply from residential buildings to commercial buildings, and there's plenty of empty commercials as well as residentials. But people who are sort of on the fringes, people who maybe don't speak English very well or are only just sort of been kicked out of their home or something, they're the ones who suffer because they don't know how to deal with the law change. There was a guy in Kent who was trying to get into an empty bungalow in order to sleep there, and it was really, really cold in the winter, and the police came along and warned him not to go in there, and he decided that rather than risk getting arrested, he'd sleep on the porch, and he ended up freezing to death because he didn't want to break the law and couldn't get the shelter that he needed to stay warm.
Obviously we've come a long way from the centre of Brighton today. It's not very grand, but you may be interested.
It's alright to be here, I like it. I just need somewhere to stay.
You don't stand a cat in hell's chance of finding anything else. My advice is to take whatever you can. If it has a roof, albeit a tin roof, you could be a cat under a wet tin roof.
Well, who's living in this area?
It's a growing community of people who can't afford to live in Brighton, who live here in makeshift vehicles and caravans.
Yeah, I can see.
Let's take a seat.
How long could I stay here?
Brighton and Hove Council plan to move people on from this site as soon as possible, but who knows how long that will be.
Oh, that's a shame.
Hold on, seek the positive. If they evict you, you become more vulnerable. You may find yourself on the streets, but in the end, that makes you more eligible for council housing. So, what do you think?
Oh, I suppose it's possible.
It is? It is, yeah, of course it is. There's no electricity or running water, but this is back to basics. All very romantic.
I don't know, I might try.
Listen, Harry, this is pure rural. People pay serious money to live in a place like this.
Because it's quiet, I suppose.
Don't let that trouble you. The authorities are hostile, the neighbours are not too happy about you being here. You'll get plenty of excitement.
For me, it's simple. I just need a place where to live.
I hear you, Harry, but listen, this is one cushy option compared with what's out there.
I know, and I'm grateful that you have brought me up here.
I mean, just taste that air. Breathe in. And at least you will work up an appetite.
The reason being is because I was on the streets, literally eating out of bins, sofa surfing, going around mates' houses, going into squats, and basically it wasn't a very good way of life. So I thought, going to a caravan, and it's nice, it's out in the fresh air, it's nice people. I'm just making good of a bad situation. I was married for 9.5 years. I had a house, we had a car. I got a child of, he was about 8 or 9, and because my name wasn't on the tenancy agreement, I had no rights to stay in the property, so I was asked to leave. So I didn't kick up a fuss because I'm quite a nice person, really, and in this world, if you're a nice person, people do take advantage.